Alright, with Secret Invasion now done, I think it's time that I do a quick rant on this show because, wow, that was disappointing.
Since you've been gone.
Before we get into it, I want to say that this is going to be all spoiler review. I'm going to talk very in-depth on many episodes, including the finale. So if you haven't seen it and you still want to watch it, click off this video. But if you have seen it, let's go talk about the series for a second. So Secret Invasion was actually one of my most hyped Marvel shows after seeing the first trailer, and I want to talk about how I watched the first two episodes. The first episode, I actually thought the first episode was great. A lot of people hated the first episode. Second episode, I thought it was pretty good. Third episode, I thought it was decent, but then we just kept going down. Every single episode just kept getting worse. I don't know how they just kept writing each episode to be dumber than the last episode, but it just made me so confused at what we were doing here and what Marvel's doing. Like, how are you going to connect all this to the main MCU? There's just no way you're going to do it. And the plot of this show should be like a big main event, because Nick Fury is learning that Skrulls on Earth are going bad. They're turning evil, trying to take over the governments, and Nick Fury has to go hunt them down. But Nick Fury is he's just not as good as he used to be. They just wrote him down to be like an old man. Sure, he's aged a lot since Endgame, but they just have him do things that are just so boring. He's just walking around half the time. One of his greatest scenes is just him talking to Rhodey in the show, but he has no great, really, action scenes in the whole show, and it really kind of made me feel bad for Sam Jackson, because it kind of made Marvel's kind of disrespecting Nick Fury. He used to be one of the most badass characters in the Marvel Universe, but now he's just not cool anymore. I think this show just dumbed him down so much. Olivia Colman's in this show, and surprisingly, she's like the second best part of this show. I still think Sam Jackson's the best part because the acting's the best, but who would have guessed that Olivia Colman would have been better than any Skrulls or any fights in the show? And seeing the Skrulls on screen, I think the makeup was done well, whatever CGI was done well with them, but I still didn't feel like this was a main event kind of show. You know, I was really hoping for more bigger names to show up in this. Like, I don't know why Marvel just cannot connect their shows with their movies. Like, are they not paying their actors enough to show up, or what's going on? Because this show just doesn't feel like it takes place in the main MCU. It's so disconnected from everything else. Kingsley Ben-Adir plays the big Skrull villain of this. I love Kingsley Ben-Adir. I think he's an amazing actor. I can't wait to see him in Bob Marley. But seeing him in this show, I feel like he shouldn't have picked this show because it might mess up his career down the line, because he was hardcore carrying a lot of scenes in this show, and I just don't think the show deserved him at all. I know I'm harping on this show a lot, but it's just so disappointing when it came down to episode 4 to 6. I actually enjoyed the first two episodes. I have a lot I enjoy about it. I do like how they took a risk with Maria Hill, but then after the third episode, they don't even really talk about her. They just put her up on screen, on a television screen, and she guest stars because she was in that television screen. I thought that was just hilarious how she was guest starring for like 5 episodes. That was so funny. I don't know why. But and then Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones was in this. I don't know what her character was doing. Gaia, Talos's daughter, in this. And then the whole finale. Don't even get me started on the finale. Like, I was kind of cringing the whole finale. I'm the finale hater, I guess you could call me. I did not think the finale worked at all. I think it was one of the worst finales I've ever seen, maybe in television history, because the whole scene where Kingsley Ben-Adir and Emilia Clarke are both getting the Super Skrull powers from every other superhero that spilled blood on Earth, and they have ghost blood. I don't even remember her fighting on Earth and getting blood drawn, but okay. And then they have this whole fight. It's a whole CGI, big fight mess, gray fight. The CGI was just so noticeable during that whole fight. It's so gray, so ugly. How do you go from a grounded spy series to a big CGI fight at the end? There could have been so many different ways to put the ending, but that ending just didn't work for me. I didn't like how they just went from a grounded series to a whole She-Hulk looking CGI fight with everyone just coming in, saving the day. It's like 4th graders wrote this series. I'm sorry if you're a writer on this series, but it just didn't work. How does the genre and like tone change in one episode? And that kind of brings me to the episode runtimes. We went from 50-minute episodes, 55-minute, 48-minute episodes, the first 3. And now we got the last 3 episodes were like 38 minutes, 35 minutes, 36. Like, come on, Marvel. What are you doing? Can you not make a 60-minute episode to save your life? If Succession on HBO and many other HBO shows can make like a 60-minute episode with just dialogue and make it so much more entertaining than a 30-minute episode with just action, then you got to really change something up. I'm one of the believers that Marvel should just stop making television like at all. Like, stop making these Disney Plus Marvel shows that you don't connect to the main movies like hardly ever. WandaVision was one of their best, and it's hardly connected to the main MCU. You of course have Photon, she's coming in the Marvels, and Miss Marvel from her show, she's coming in the Marvels, but I guarantee you 60% of your audience who watches your movies do not watch your shows. So when the Marvels comes out, everyone is going to be so confused at what's happening and who these 2 new characters are. Like, people know Captain Marvel, people won't know who Kamala Khan is, because 60% of your viewers do not watch your Disney Plus shows. It's so stupid. Like, you could have easily made a great 2-hour, 10-minute Miss Marvel movie, and I think you could have got the point across so much better than making a 5-hour TV show that has so much filler and so many villains that just I don't care about. And Moon Knight especially. I'm a big Moon Knight defender. I love that series. But I think a 2-hour movie, 2.5-hour movie of Moon Knight could have been so cool with a great cinematographer, great director, great writer. Like, that would have been awesome. And sometimes I think the Marvel shows do work, like Loki. I feel like that's the best Marvel show. I think that works so well. But that's because you have some great creators behind that show, great director, great writers. And Loki season 2 could maybe be like that, but we don't know. We haven't even gotten the first trailer for that. But that brings me back. Secret Invasion just is an utter disappointment by the end. The ending just felt so dumb. How can you have Gaia have all these powers and be the most overpowered being in the Marvel Universe now? It just doesn't make sense how Kevin Feige is going to work this out. So Gaia is the most powerful hero in the universe now, and it's not Wanda, it's not Captain Marvel, it's not Thor anymore. Like, how can you just change that? I get she's a super Skrull, but at the same time, she's not even a main Avenger or a main player in the MCU. And I feel like Kevin Feige is just not going to forget about Gaia, forget about Olivia Colman's character. We're not even going to see them in the next 5 years. I totally doubt that we will. And Samuel L. Jackson's character, Nick Fury, is with Vara in the end of the episode. They're like a couple now, and they're going back up to space. And we've seen nothing about Vara in the Marvels trailers. And if Vara isn't in the Marvels, then you done messed up, Kevin Feige. You've done messed up, because how can that continue like that when they're both going to the same ship, but we don't see Vara at all? We don't see a continuation of their relationship. I just feel like the shows are just so disconnected. That's why I wish they could just stop. Like, you can keep doing like the big rated R shows, like probably what Daredevil's going to be, 18 episodes. I don't know how that one's 18 episodes, but all these are 6. Explain. But you can keep something like that. But three television series a year, and like they're all just not great. Like, why do we keep making these seasons? Like, I think I'm done watching the Marvel television shows, maybe except for Loki. I'll watch that every week when it comes out. But all the other ones, I'll wait till binge those. Like, I just don't care anymore after this season. They started pretty strong, but they just ended so weak. So overall, I know I'm hating on the series, but I think it's for good reason. I think Marvel's just not doing well, except for Guardians 3, but that was just James Gunn that did that, I think. So overall, Secret Invasion, a huge disappointment, a huge misstep, and it just doesn't make sense for where Marvel's going in this whole direction of Skrulls. It took the storyline in the comics and just dumbed it down so much. So overall, I'm going like a 5.2 out of 10 for this. If you haven't seen it, I don't think that you're going to like it. If you're not a hardcore Marvel fan, there's just no point to watch it, I think. So that's my review of Secret Invasion. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments, and I upload almost every day, so make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.